I'm going to read chapter 7 and 8. Chapter 7, My Sister's Baby, My Daughter. People like to say blood is thicker than water, but they forget that blood can drown you too. My oldest sister had been spiraling. The drugs were no longer a secret. They were her personality now. She had married a man whose resume included drug smuggler and doomed relationships. And now she was pregnant again. She didn't want the baby. She said it out loud like she was reading the weather. I can't do it. I've already got one. I'm not ready for this. But she wasn't saying it to just anybody. She was saying it to me. And then she said the one thing that made my entire world stop spinning. I want you to have her. I didn't even blink. Of course, I said yes. I talked to my husband. We were like solid concrete, just poured. And just like that, I was ready to open my heart, my arms, and my home. I went to Texas half excited, half terrified, fully determined. But trauma doesn't run in a straight line. She changed her mind, of course. Of course she did. She was high, unstable, and one day she wanted to give the baby up, and the next day she wanted to cling to it like it was some kind of bargaining chip. 3 months of back and forth hell. Then the state steps in. Thank God. They took custody. And I moved like I had never moved before. I made calls. I fought the system. I put in the paperwork. I showed up for every supervised visit, every court date, every single hoop that they made me jump through. Until finally, one hot summer night, a social worker knocked on my front door, and in his arms, a tiny, perfect, wide-eyed miracle that I had been aching for. She was mine. Just like that, I was a mother of 2. My 3-year-old son, who had been my whole world, showing me how to love, and now a baby girl who already survived so much chaos in her first year that most people would endure their entire lifetime. No, she didn't come from my body, but she came from my fight, from my love, from my choice. I chose her, and I choose her again every single day. We adjusted. We built a routine. She called me mom before she could even say it right. My sister faded out of the picture, lost to her own demons. She never asked to see the baby girl again. It hurt, but I couldn't afford to stay angry. Not when I had such a beautiful child in front of me, depending on me to break the chain that we both come from. And so I kept going. Sleepless nights, dirty diapers, late nights holding them until they drifted to sleep, everything in between. I did it all. And I did it all with pride, because for the first time in my life, I was building something that nobody could take from me. And that was chapter 7, and we'll start chapter 8. Chapter 8 is called The House Was Full, But I Was Empty. You ever look around your life, all the noise, all the motion, kids laughing in the next room, dinner on the stove, and you feel like you're watching it from the outside? That was me, a mother of 2 in a house that should have felt like a home. But the truth, I was disappearing, bit by bit, smile by smile. My husband was still working on the tugboat, gone more than he was home. I used to count the days until he'd come back, but now I barely noticed when he left again. When he was home, he wasn't really there, always finding something or someone else to keep him occupied. Anywhere but the life that we had built together. And me, I was the constant, the default setting. I was the lunch packed, wipe the tears, homework signed. I was mom, wife, and everything. but never just me. Eventually, I stopped waiting for him to come back. And I started imagining what it would feel like to breathe on my own. So, when he was home, I let him stay in the house with the kids. And when he was gone, I stayed. That's how we lived. Trading like divorced couples who shared custody, except we hadn't even admitted to ourselves that our marriage was even over. It wasn't hate. It wasn't drama. It was just nothing. Still, I kept showing up. I kept being the glue. I finally got a place in town, just a tiny little rental, but it was mine. I got a job. I got up early and did my morning chaos alone. And when the kids were at school, I put on a smile and went to work like I hadn't been crying in the shower all morning. Then I started drinking again. Not the wild kind, not yet. Just a few drinks at the end of the night to take the edge off. Then more, then a bottle every few days. Then it was daily. But hey, I was functioning. Bills paid, kids fed, life moving forward. Nobody could tell that I was drowning. Mom had started drinking again too. And then she dropped the bomb. She was leaving my stepdad and going to Texas. It gutted me, not because I didn't understand, but because we had finally been so close. I had leaned on her. She had become my safe place, and now she was gone again. I was on my own, and the cracks were starting to show. I kept my mask on. I still showed up, but behind closed doors, I was unraveling. And worse, I didn't care this time. That was 7 and 8. It's fixing to get into the straw that broke the camel's back in my spiral. So buckle up and be ready.